Good morning and welcome, Rahul Singh. Welcome, Paritosh. Welcome, Harsh. Well, let us wait for 2 minutes and then we'll start this lecture. For nominal data and for numeric data, we are using Pearson's product moment coefficient. Fine. So now we are going to see the example based on it. So again, let us go through the formula and then we'll go with the example. We had also seen that how we can find out standard coefficient, standard deviation. How we can find out standard deviation, that we also seen in the first lecture. This is the formula based on which you can find out Pearson's product moment. And we will see some based on this formula, where values of two attributes will be given to you, and that will be in numeric format. Now let us go through that sum. So this kind of table will be given to you. And in that table, you are having attribute A. It can be any attribute. It can to this attribute. These are its values. And below that, you are having attribute B, and these are its values. And so, okay, let me go through that formula and let us share both the things. So first, from directly that table, which kind of values we can derive. Let me share the screen just a minute. This is the formula, and which kind of values we will require? We will require N, R, the value of A1 into B1. This is A2 into B2. This is A3 into B3. A4 into B4. Same way for all values. So now from this equation, we are having sigma A into B. Now we are also having A bar, B bar. We are also having A bar, B bar as average of A, average of B. And number of records that we are having. So you just count the records that you are having. So total we are having 18 values. So n will be 18. And so all the things we are having now. Now we need to find out only sigma A and sigma B. The summation of AI BI that we are having n, having A bar B bar, having sigma A sigma B, standard deviation of A, standard deviation of B, and that we already discussed in the first lecture, that how you can calculate it. So using that equation you can find out the standard deviation. So for that, first, what is this value? This value is nothing but A1, or that is called, you can say that this value A1 minus A bar whole square, A2 minus A bar whole square, A3 minus A bar whole square. And this way you can find out that for all these values, and then find out its sum of all this, then divide it by n. This value that you are having 165.025, that is variance. That value that you will get will be variance, and its square root will be standard deviation of A. Same for B, standard deviation of B. And that you need to use in that formula, put all the values and find out the value that you are having, and you will get 0.81762. And as it is greater than 0, that means that both are positively correlated. And so it can be the stock price of company A, stock price of company B. They can give any name to these attributes. Two attributes will be there, and we need to find out that what is the correlation of that kind of data, or that those attributes. And one more thing here, as you can see that this is type of attribute A, type of attribute B, both are numeric. That's why you use Pearson's product moment coefficient. If it is nominal, then use chi-square. And this is how you can find out Pearson product moment coefficient. Now let us move further. Let me share the screen, just a minute. And so now, previously we had discussed that how can find out correlation analysis. Coefficient method. Now, and the covariance that you will get, if it is greater than 0, then both are positively correlated. If you are getting negative covariance, then you can say that both the attributes are negatively correlated. If it is 0, then both are independent. And to find out covariance between attribute A and B, you can use this equation. So covariance of between, or covariance for attribute A and B equal to summation of AI into BI minus mean of A and mean of B. So first, let us say, just assume that this kind of values are given, like 2, 5, 3, 8, 5, 10, 4, 11, 6, 6, 14. A to B 5. On second day, company A's value 3, B's value 8. Third day, A's value 5, B's value 10. Fourth day, 4, 11. fifth day 614. That means what? 2, 3, 5, 4, 6. All these are the values of A. 8, 10, 11, 14. All these are the values of B. Now first, out the average of the 2 plus 3 plus 5 plus 4 plus 6 by 5. That you will get B bar. 5 plus 8 plus 11 by 5. You will get 9.6. That is B bar. Now, you need to find out AI into BI and its summation. Increasing, other is also increasing. If Okay, so we're discussing this covariance. Here, covariance between A and B, covariance of A and B equal to summation of AI into BI divided by N minus A bar into B bar. And so here, divide by N is missing in this equation. And here, we are having stock prices of two companies of 5 days. 2, 3, 5, 4, 6 are the values of stock price. 8, 5, 8, 10, 11, 14. All these are the prices of stock company B. So we can find out A bar, B bar, that is average of A, average of B, that is A bar, B bar we are having. Now, sigma or summation of AI into BI, that is 2 into 5 plus 3 into 8 plus 5 into 10 plus 4 into 11 plus 6 into 14 divided by N as per the formula that is already given, minus, what is the value of N? N is nothing but total number of records that we are having. It is 5. We are having records of 5 days. So it is 5 minus A bar, that is 4, into B bar, that is 9.6. The value that you are having will be 4. So covariance of A and B equal to 4. And as you are getting covariance greater than 0, you can say that both the companies are positively correlated. That means that if one company's stock price is increasing, other will also increase. If you are getting covariance 0, that means what? Both are independent. There is no any kind of relation between those two stock prices. And if you are getting negative, then if one is decreasing, other will increase. If one is increasing, other will decrease. And that is covariance. Now data reduction. In data reduction, different techniques are there. So for that, okay, just a minute. Let me just go through it. Yes, next is data reduction. And in data reduction, what we need to do, let us say if you are going to consider entire data for data mining, what will happen? It is going to consume too much of time. And the time required to process the data, time required to generate the analysis, results will be also more. Fine. So many reasons are there behind applying this kind of data reduction techniques. So first is obtain a reduced representation of a data set. Fine. So just assume that you are having values very large, or in your data set very large values are there. You can also represent the same thing in smaller format, smaller form. Then you need to reduce the data or its type. Fine. So what you are doing here, we are just representing the same data but with smaller volume. Fine. So here what we are doing, we are obtaining the reduced representation of the same data set that is much more smaller in volume, but still it is going to produce the same results that you're going to have by considering entire data set. Right? So we are just going to consider or obtain reduced representation of your original data, which is going to provide you the same kind of result. And what is the reason by applying these data reduction techniques? The reason is simple. Database or data warehouse may store data in terabytes. If you consider the entire data, it will take too much of time. It will be complex. Fine. So complex data analysis may take very long time to run on entire data or complete data set. That is why we are considering reduced representation of the same data. And which are the techniques? Techniques are dimensionality reduction, numerosity reduction, and data compression. Now in dimensionality reduction, we are having wavelet transforms, then principal components analysis PCA method, then feature subset selection or feature creation. These three techniques are there in dimensionality reduction. In numerosity reduction, we are having multiple techniques like regression or log linear regression, log linear models, histogram, clustering, sampling, the data cube aggregation. All these are the techniques under numerosity reduction. And last is data compression. Right, so all the data compression methods you can use in the third technique. So data compression is a kind of whole subject in which multiple techniques are there, methods are there to reduce or compress the size of data. And we all have used WinZip. What it is doing, it is compressing the data. Right? So you are having compressed file format, compressed file, and you can also decompress it whenever required. You can compress, you can decompress whenever required. So that is a kind of compression method. Fine. So all these are the data reduction methods. Now, data reduction, that is dimensionality reduction. First technique, first strategy. This is a curse of dimensionality. This means what? That here, when you need to go with this dimensional reduction, so when dimensionality is increasing, if you are your data set is having too many dimensions, at that time you need to reduce the dimension, and data becomes increasingly sparse. So whenever dimensions are increasing gradually, your sparsity of data will increase. Fine. So in short, we are going to reduce the dimensions here. One reason curse of dimensionality reduction or dimensionality, what will happen if your dimension is changing, in short. So if dimension is increasing, your sparsity of data will also increase. That means what is it is going to be more complex. Second, dimensionality and distance between points, which is critical to clustering and outlier analysis, becomes less meaningful. So as number of dimensions are increasing, distance and density between points will decrease. And if you want to identify outliers, then it will be very, very difficult and will be meaningless because all the data points will be almost near to each other. Fine. And dimensionality reduction, in that what we are doing, we are avoiding the curse of dimensionality. Whenever you are increase or your data is going to increase the dimension, we are going to increase the dimensions in your data set. We are avoiding the curse of dimensionality. We are avoiding those 2 points and help to eliminate the irrelevant features and reduce noise. Right? So we can remove those features which are irrelevant, as well as we can reduce the noise also from our data. And we can also reduce the time and space required in data mining. So after applying this data reduction techniques, the time required to apply data mining techniques and to get the results, and the space, that is the size of results, will be also reduced. And it is going to allow us the easier visualization of our result, our analysis of our data. Right, so this is dimensional reduction. And which are the techniques? Wavelet transform, PCA, supervise, and nonlinear techniques. These are the techniques for data reduction. Now, heuristic search and attribute selection. Here, there are two-dimensional possible or 2D possible attributes combinations you're going to generate of D attribute, D number of attributes. That is what? That is 2 raised to D. So here, what we are doing, there are 2 raised to D possible attribute combinations are there if you are having total D attributes in your data set. Fine. So what is the meaning? For example, let us say whenever you are having a data set, in that you are having total 100 attributes. So how many combinations are possible? Why we are considering these combinations? Because we are representing, or we are going to consider schemas. We are going to create cubes and all. So for that, we are going to consider multiple or the various lattices or other things with multiple attributes, right? That we already seen in previous sessions. So same way, total how many combinations are possible? Total 2 raised to d possible combinations are there. And typical heuristic attribute selection method are or best single attribute under attribute independence assumption, where whichever attributes are independent and best that you're going to select. Then best stepwise feature selection. You're going to go through each attribute, and whichever attribute are having best features, going to provide more information that you can choose. So the best single attribute is picked first, and then next best attribute conditions to the first rest of the data sets or rest of the combinations will be there. Right. So next is stepwise attribute elimination. So after generation of different combinations, you're going to eliminate those combinations which are not useful, and best combined attribute selection and elimination will be applied. We'll see this with an example so that you can clearly understand this. And then optimal branch and bound method or technique will be applied, which is using the attribute elimination and backtracking. Right, so let us understand this with an example. Okay, just assume that you are having data in this format, and total you are having 100 instances or 100 attributes in your data set. So total how many combinations will be possible? Total 2 raised to d possible combinations will be there. Let me go to that cube lattices and all. That we had discussed in the previous unit. Yeah, right. Let me open that file. Understand this, we need to go to the previous unit. Let me share the slide now, just a minute. This thing we had discussed in the 4th unit. Fine. So in this, what we were doing, we were having different attributes. Let us assume that you are having total 100 attributes. And what we are doing, we are considering individual, or we are categorizing data in individual attributes. That is 1D keyword, then combination of 2, 3. So how many combinations possible? 2 raised to d. Out of all these combinations, are all useful? No. So you need to remove those which are not useful, which are not giving you much more information. You're going to remove it, and then you are going to keep only those which are useful. So fine. So the next is heuristic in the same one. Let us move ahead. Attribute creation, that is also known as feature generation. So here what we are doing, let us say you are having around 100 attributes in your data set. Now from few attributes you can create single attribute. So what is it? Based on current attributes, you can if you are having, let us say, 100 attributes, now consider, assume that 5 attributes are there that can be also represented with single attribute. So what you are doing, you are creating a new feature, you are generating a new feature. And so create new attribute that can capture the important information in the data set more effectively than the original one. Right? So in original data set, total 100 attributes are there. Out of 100, let us say 5 attributes are there, which can be represented with a single attribute. So what you can do, you can remove those 5, you can create one which can also representing the same thing. Now you will be having 96 attributes instead of 100. Same way, you are going to perform the same thing with all the attributes, and you can have less attribute compared to original data set. Fine, and 3 general methods are there for attribute generation or creation or feature generation. First, attribute extraction. Here, you're going to create attribute based on domain. Second, mapping data to new space. That is, you're going to apply Fourier transform, Laplace transform, this kind of method, and then you can have, or what you're doing here, you're mapping data to new space. Once you are having, let's say, few attributes, you are having some numeric values, and the same can be presented with one. So you can apply Fourier transform, Laplace transform, this kind of thing, and you can say that whichever data is suited, you are going to represent it with that attribute. Next is attribute construction. So what you're doing here, you are constructing attributes by combining features. Right? So as we discussed earlier, that let's say 5 attributes are there. By combining all those 5 attributes, you can also represent with single attribute. That is combining features or attribute construction and discretization. Data discretization uses also you can create attribute or features, create or generate features. Next is data reduction. That is also called numerosity reduction. Second technique, that is numerosity reduction. In numerosity reduction, 2 techniques are there: parametric and non-parametric. Now, reduce data volume by choosing alternative. What we are doing in this numerosity reduction, we are reducing the data volume, size of data, by choosing alternative. That is smaller form of data representation. Fine, and parametric methods are there. That is regression, and non-parametric methods are also there. So in parametric methods, regression like linear regression, non-linear regression, all these kind of techniques are there, where you are considering parameters. That's why it is parametric. And here, what we are doing, we are assuming the data fits to some model, to some equation, and estimate the model parameters. We are estimating the data model parameters and then storing only parameters, not the entire data. Fine. So whichever parameters are there, we are only going to store those parameters. We are not going to consider entire data. And so the size based on parameters will be required, not entire data. So for example, if one line is there, your data is being fitted on that line. Now, there is no need to consider the entire data because you can also represent the same thing with one single equation, which is having few parameters. Fine. So it is better to use that parameters instead of all the data. Sorry, I was disconnected. Let me share the screen again. So the second method is non-parametric, where we are not using any kind of parameters. We are not trying to use any kind of equation and all. We are trying to use or plot our data into some kind of graph or categories. Fine. So histogram, then clustering, sampling, all these are the techniques which are non-parametric. Fine. So in parametric, you are having linear regression, then multiple regressions, log linear regression. In short, what we are doing in this method, assume that you are plotting a graph of your data points, and that can be represented with the same or the equation of line. For example, y is equal to x plus 1. Using this line, you can represent the same data. So there is no need to use entire data. Just use that equation, its parameters like slope and constant value, and you will be having the same representation. In regression analysis, let us say you are having multiple techniques. Linear regression, where you are having equation of line, y is equal to wx plus b, where w and b are constants. Sorry, not constant, but parameters. Sorry, w and b are parameters. And here, other method is multiple regression, where your data is fitted on multiple lines. And log linear model, where your data is going to be fitted on, let us say, okay, one more thing, multiple regression, it is also non-linear regression or non-linear function. So if you are saying that your data is not being fitted on a straight line, then you can use this multiple regression. And log linear regression based on log method, log based equation, if you are saying that your data is fitted based on that equation, then you can use that log linear model. This is parametric. Now non-parametric. First is histogram, so that we are having in Weka. Right? So we are trying to plot our different data into different bars and all. That is histogram analysis. Then clustering, you are trying to create clusters of similar kind of data. Whichever data points are having similarities, similar characteristics, they will be in the same cluster. Whichever data points are having different characteristics, they will be in different cluster. And those who are not matching with any characteristics, those are outliers. Right? So you can represent data with clustering also. And sampling, you are creating samples. So in binning method, what we are doing, we are sampling data. In step 1, we are sorting. In step 2, we are creating bins. We are creating samples. Right? So sampling is nothing but obtaining a small sample S to represent the whole data set N. Fine. So here, whenever you are having, let us say, 10,000 values, now you can also consider a small portion of it, subset of that entire 10,000 values, which is also going to represent the same thing. So there is no need to consider entire 10,000 values. Just consider it sample value, sample representation. And that is sampling. And this is going to allow the mining algorithm to run in complexity that is potentially sublinear. And it is going to follow the principle that choose a representative subset of data. It is going to just choose a representative of the entire data. And in sampling, you are having different types like simple random sampling, sample without replacement, sampling with replacement, stratified sampling. All these are the different techniques to get the sample value, sample representation of data. Next is data cube aggregation. In data cube aggregation, what you're doing, you are aggregating the data from multiple sources. And then you're going to generate the cube and all. And so let us keep up to this only. This point, data cube aggregation will start in the next lecture. So for today's lecture, let us keep up to this only. And if anyone is having any query, feel free to ask. In the next lecture, we'll start with this data cube aggregation. Up to this, anybody any doubt, any query? Fine. So I hope that there is no query. So for attendance, you all can type down your full enrollment number in the comment box.